Thanks for tuning in to Black News, Changing the Narrative. My name is Christina Springer, and I'm sitting in again for Terry Minor Spencer on this evening's Black News, Changing the Narrative. First up this evening, let's take a look at what's happening in Homestead with Black businesses building up the 8th Avenue corridor.
But the future of East 8th Avenue looks bright.
Why not make this the new South Side, the new Lawrenceville? And that's when we got this building. I walked in here, I said, yep, this is the place. Mike
Reed owns Eon Bar and Grill. He opened this business in the middle of the pandemic.
One of our popular drinks here would be our Blue Long Island. This is what makes Eon right now. Our food is phenomenal.
Business is booming.
We're following the rules, and our expectations are, to have a safe environment for everyone.
Reed says guidance from the health department and liquor control board has also helped.
They're coaching me, and to be successful, you got to be able to be coached.
And right next door to Eon is this juice bar that's fairly new and Black owned. The owner here tells me he's determined to transform East 8th Avenue into the thriving place it once was.
Okay, I have the banana nut bliss smoothie. We have cold pressed juices, smoothies, and smoothie bowls.
Brett Gilliam's mission is to keep people healthy, and he only had one place in mind to do that.
There is no place I'd rather be than in Homestead. There's a renaissance going on in Homestead right now, and we're the forefront of it.
And this business that's located further down the road is set to open very soon.
It's an upscale lounge. We're opening on April 30th.
Hookah, food, and live music is what the partner of Solly says this place will offer, and it will bring more jobs to the area.
Revitalize Homestead. We're all working together, and that's what we're trying to do.
How encouraging. Small businesses are so important to the economy. They keep money inside of the community and create jobs. They're owned by people like you and me, who are invested in our communities and want to see them thrive. Whew. In national news, I just lost my notes, so you just have to bear with me. I was toggling between the two screens, and my national news just slipped right away from me, and I will be bringing it right back up to keep you informed. I think we needed that laugh break because in the national news, it's a little bit dire. A young man, Noah Green, attempted to breach the Capitol grounds and was killed by Capitol Police after ramming 2 officers with his car and ultimately killing 1. Another striking contrast to the manner in which treasonous insurrectionists were treated on January 6th. Reports have been quick to point out that Green was a follower of the Nation of Islam, leading other Muslims to begin to distance themselves from Minister Farrakhan. In this recurring coverage, further exploits the narrative that Louis Farrakhan is a violent Muslim leader, radicalizing Black men. However, last year in Christchurch, New Zealand, the shooter who attacked 2 mosques, killed 51 people, and injured 40 gained sympathy because he had been called chubby as a child. It would seem white Christian violent actors are lone wolves, or are conflicted in their faith, or are raised in a loving home but suffering from some mental illness. This would be an opportune time to point out that Minister Farrakhan has led 4 different marches in DC, and no violence occurred. This is a stark contrast to the deaths, tramplings, and vehicular manslaughter which followed the marches of white dominance groups, especially such as in Charlottesville, Virginia. And this is why we must continue to examine and change the narrative and bring you the truth. Do you know who Rupert Murdoch is? He's notorious for allowing his many publications to portray Black men, women, and children as dangerous animals, aggressive, uncontrollable, dangerous, larger than life. As you see in the first graphic, is a comic of the attack on an elderly Asian woman in New York. The next is the demeanor of Serena Williams during the Australian Open against Naomi Osaka. Another woman of color, yet portrayed as white, small, and delicate compared to Ms. Williams. Murdoch owns not only the New York Post, the Herald Sun, but Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. So how do they really see us? But this narrative is rarely seen. Byron Allen bought a full-page ad in the Detroit Free Press accusing the CEO of GM of being racist and refusing to meet with Black-owned media leaders for 5 years. Mr. Allen said, "You stand on stage after the death of George Floyd saying Black Lives Matter when you have refused to acknowledge us." The ad reads, "The very definition of systemic racism is when you are ignored, excluded, and you don't have true economic inclusion." Whew. Let's go take a break. I'll be right back with more news after we see how we in Pittsburgh can support our own Black businesses. Thanks for staying with us. We have more news out of Georgia. Did you really think Stacey Abrams would not respond to the foolery that is happening and the silence of some of the largest national companies headquartered in Georgia, Abrams said, "The companies that stood silently by or gave mealy-mouthed responses during the debate were wrong." In an interview with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution about what critics believe amounts to voter suppression, what people want to know is where they stand on this fundamental issue of voting rights. Speaking of company reaction to SB 241 and voter suppression, based on SB 241, the new Georgia voter suppression bill passed last week and immediately signed into law by Governor Brian Kemp. Major League Baseball's commissioner, Rob Manfred, announced that he will be moving both the All-Star Game and Major League draft events from Atlanta to a yet-to-be-announced city. The game and events were to begin on July 13th and were expected to generate $60 to $120 million in revenue for the city. Commissioner Manfred stated that after several conversations with baseball clubs and players associations, that the best way to demonstrate our value as a sport is by relocating this year's All-Star Game and draft. Governor Kemp is quoted as blaming Major League Baseball's decision on cancel culture and liberal lies, and Stacey Abrams. The trial of Derek Chauvin continues this coming week for the videotaped execution of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Testimony last week was very emotional, from eyewitness to the murder, with many feeling helpless, distraught, and guilty for not being able to stop the savagery by the police. We also heard from current and retired Minneapolis police officers, and they all agreed that the use of deadly force in this case was unwarranted. We will continue to monitor the news and court case, and will bring you everything we know. Several stations are carrying the trial live all day, such as CNN, ABC Live, and MSNBC. If you're out and about, check WTAE Live to stay up to date. Let's close out this segment on a high note. Meet Isla Banks from Twiggs County, Georgia. This brilliant young woman has earned $2.2 million in scholarships and has been accepted to 84 colleges and universities. She's maintained a 4.0 grade point average and is the recipient of the Gates Scholarship. As a high school senior, she's already a published author, writing a book called Perspective Through the Looking Glass. Right on, Isla. Let's check in with Kim for happenings in the hood. Hey, Kim. It seems like Kim's microphone's off, and it might be because Amber is off on assignment this week and has left Kim in charge of the whole segment.
Sorry about that. Good evening, Christina. How are you today?
I'm good. You look fabulous.
Right.
Tell me what's happening in the hood.
Good evening, everyone. There's a lot of things happening this week in the hood. I announced last Friday that there's an oldies but goodies. It's called Old School Oldies Sexy Friday. Every Friday from 6 to 10 at the Village on the West End. The address is 48 Greenway Drive, 15204. You pay $20. They have top shelf, all you can drink, and they have food. I went there last Friday and they had chicken. They had buffalo chicken. They had real fried chicken and some other things. Classy music, live DJ, and on the money. If you get some time, 6 to 10, head on over to the West End to the Village and get your party on. Also, Team Gainey will be holding a youth virtual kickoff this week on tomorrow, April 6th. Ed Gainey will be answering questions for the youth. You can RSVP at bit.ly/Gainey, Gainey, youth kickoff. This is a free online event. If there's any youth out there, if there's anyone out there, if you have any questions you need to ask Ed Gainey, get on the live and ask him. And he'll be willing to answer any question you have for him. That's tomorrow again. Also, we have Pennsylvania Black Health Matters. This is a conference. It'll be held on April 8th at 8:30 in the morning. It's a one-day health conference, and it'll focus on topics that's relevant to the Black community across Pennsylvania. There'll be live forums, there'll be games, there'll be polls and giveaways. This is it'll also be a virtual job booth. It'll be an expo resource for non-for-profits that support health needs of the Black community. You can register at blackhealthmatterspa.org. That'll be very interesting to watch. Also on April 8th, there's a press conference at the City County building. You can RSVP your attendance at the press's conference and email at info@nice2mediamarketing.com. Put your title, your name, the name of your organization, and get your mind out there. Get your whatever you would like to say. If you have any comments or concern, this is really for anybody in the community, the media as well. You get your concerns during that press conference at the City County building. Also, on April 11th through April 16th, from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., there's a Black Maternal Health Week. This is a free online event. It's given by Pittsburgh Brown Mamas and the Birthing Hut. This will be their first time hosting this event, and there'll be 3 virtual events. They're celebrating this week with movement, a doula, speed dating, and information session. This will be on Facebook. Check out the events under Black Maternal Health Week. Click the Going On Facebook and register. Thank you. And that's all I have for you folks.
Thanks so much, Kim. You really brought it. It's so nice to hear all these incredible things happening in the hood. People need to really take advantage of all the things that we have to offer. Now let's turn to Alexis and find out what's going on here and around the country with arts and entertainment. Okay, so I know Alexis has prepared a most magnificent show for you today. She had many, many things to talk with you about. And we'll see. Here she is.
Mm-hmm. Hello, hello.
Hey, I'm so glad to see you. What have you got for us, Alexis?
I got a whammy for you. Let's tune in. Hello, hey, all my beautiful kings and queens. Welcome to Arts and Entertainment, where we move with the groove. Thanks for tuning in to Black News, Changing Our Narrative. It's starting to get real spicy in the entertainment world. Let's start off with the pot calling the kettle unforgiven. Janet Jackson made a restoring post on social media about choosing to heal and not hurt, to forgive and not to despise. Moving forward, go through it to get through it. Here comes Justin Timberlake's ex-manager grooving over to state that she needs to practice what she preaches, implying that she hasn't forgiven Justin Timberlake for exposing her body during a Super Bowl. Now, I would like to take a moment of silence for his insensitivity, but if we took that silence every time a man stated how they felt we women should heal after our bodies have been violated, it'd be considered solitary confinement, which APA and other organizations in Pittsburgh are trying to ban on this upcoming election on the ballot initiative. It seems like the ex-manager is more butthurt about Janet not welcoming Justin with open arms than the humiliation that she had to deal with. You can't cut me and tell me how I should allow myself to bleed, especially when you're not even helping me stitch or patch it up. It's important to normalize that we can forgive someone and choose not to associate with that person any longer. Justin chose to color himself in that picture of his narrative, and Janet, who still may be traumatized, decided not to fall into and change the shade. Alrighty, let's groove away from this misogyny and move on to this. My First Lady, Michelle Obama, has teamed up with NBC and Walgreens to roll your sleeves up to encourage and promote vaccinations to end COVID-19. This is a televised special educating the public on putting the Rona behind us like we did 2020. Looks like the nation is doubling up on the vaccine productions and trying to finally get things under control. As always, do your own research, use reliable sources such as .org, .net, or even Google Scholar, and see what works best for you. Moving on to some not so good grooves, stop and drop rapper Earl Simmons, also known as DMX, was hospitalized following a heart attack. He is currently in a vegetative state with little brain activity. Let's hold him and his family up during these times. Let's groove on over to something I can't really move to. As many have saw, Lil Nas X made a powerful statement in his video Montero. Now, if you grew up in a religious household, you understand the vegan beef between church and homosexuality, in which he was trying to convey in his video. Do I agree with his vivid visuals? No. But I also can't get jiggy with his new line of Satan shoes supposedly containing red human blood with a forged Nike symbol. Mind you, Nike had no play in this ordeal. After this naughty shoe sold out, Nike filed a restraining order against the company MSCHF, the art collective and apparel company, blocking and forbidding them to create any more of its kind. Now, those who already ordered may have received their irony shoes, but it's unclear if they'll ship the rest out. Can you move to Lizzo promoting body positivity yet again? She's on a health journey while many are trying to critique her for not shedding pounds like they think she should. She reminds society that not everyone is meant to be slim and have a six-pack. Whether it be health issues or people who just like to eat, we are not one size, shape, or form. Normalize the unnormal. What year are we in? Then act like it. Love you, flaws and all. Can you face a mirror and say you love you and mean just that? Because you are beautiful and you need to believe that. Skinny does not always equal healthy or beauty. Our weekly challenge. Let's challenge ourselves to be satisfied. Warmer weather is slowly but surely approaching, and it looks good to feel good. Let's try eating until we're satisfied and not till we're full. Drink a glass of water before or during your meal. Make a choice your body will thank you for inside. It's not always about the outside. Can you move to that groove? I guess we'll find out next week. Make sure you're following COVID-19 restrictions, social distance, mask and shields up, wash those hands, and enjoy this long overdue weather to shake off that seasonal depression.
Amazing, Alexis. That was such a great, I didn't know. I'm so thankful to you.
No problem.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll get back and we'll give you some more news about how we in Pittsburgh can support our own local Black businesses. Okay, welcome back. It's time to grind the axe. All right, I have something to grind my axe about this week. If one of us is not free, then all of us are not free. In these trying days ahead, where a majority of the country has developed amnesia because their rights are no longer as imminently threatened as they had been during the last 4 years, it becomes our obligation to keep the heat on and keep our eyes open. There is so much news slipping between the cracks of the more big issues, and people have gone back to sleep. It is not time for sleeping. Now more than ever, we must stay awake and remain vigilant. In addition to sweeping voter suppression across the country, we have legislators and members of the judicial branch quietly proceeding with another attempt to erode the rights of people who happen not to be male, white, Christian, or straight. I want to address today specifically misogyny. I want to take a look at the fiasco which tiptoed quietly across the newsreader, unbeknownst to many people and not covered pretty much anywhere. The Minnesota Supreme Court recently reversed the conviction of a man found guilty of rape in a manner which now jeopardizes every human vulnerable to sexual predators. Now, I will let you know right now, very specifically, that I am discussing humans who are vulnerable to sexual predators, because it's not just a women's issue. This is a queer issue, this is a trans issue, and this is most specifically a Black femme girls issue. And in fact, Black trans women are more highly targeted than any other human on the planet. So the Minnesota Supreme Court, which had nothing to do with any of those groups of people, but the Minnesota Supreme Court recently reversed the conviction of a man found guilty of raping a woman. Why? Why would they, when it was crystal clear, cut and dried? Met her in a bar, she was drunk, took her with a friend to their place, told her they were taking her somewhere that there was a party, but was not a party, it was their apartment. She passed out, unconscious, and when she woke up, these men were raping her. Cut and dried, clear as anything. But the Minnesota Supreme Court, their decision hinged on the meaning of mentally incapacitated, because it's against the law to have relations with a human being who is mentally incapacitated. That's the definition in the state law. But the court cited a statute that says someone who is under the influence of alcohol, narcotics, or another substance lacks the judgment to consent to sex, which they do, but only if the intoxicating substance was administered without their agreement. That's what the Minnesota Supreme Court thinks, that if you go out and you drink and you have a little bit too much and you administered alcohol to yourself willingly and with choice, that if you get raped, you deserve it because you are not mentally incapacitated, because you chose to have a drink and you chose to drink too much. This is a strikingly nasty throwback to the she deserved it mentality, which prevented women and other persons vulnerable to sexual predation from coming forward to prevent rape. We women and other people who have been preyed upon sexually have been really coming forward in the past couple of years and standing up and saying, we will not tolerate this form of misogyny anymore. But hey, we got the chronic sexual predator out of the office, and so everything must be groovy anymore. Well, it's not the truth. And the truth is, now we have to be even wider awake. And no, you can't have a sip of wine and calm and cool down. Because hey, in Minnesota, if you get raped, it's your fault. I want to take a look at Georgia. I want to look at the baseball league. I'm so proud of them for pulling out of Atlanta. And it goes to show you something really clear and really important. The only vote, the only real vote we have in this country is our dollar. We vote every day. Every day. We vote for misogyny. We vote for racism. We vote for homophobia. We vote against our own best interests. It's time for that to stop. It's time for us to slow down. It's time for us to offer the generosity of our patience to each other, and especially to businesses who actually care about who we are, who actually see us as people, not mindless drones consuming their product. Now, more than ever, especially in these years where the people who were able to help us advocate for our rights have gone back to sleep and feel everything's all good because Stacey Abrams saved the country, are not here to help us anymore. So, remember, you must think about living a little bit more simply, seeking out those other Black businesses, confining your voting power to the communities that care about you. Return to living simply so that others can simply live. And that's a message that will be heard in every corridor, from the legislature to the judicial bodies to the city councils. When we return to each other and support each other, that and only then will we truly see change. The axe is sharp. Go make some firewood. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in to Black News, Changing the Narrative. Terry Minor Spencer will be back with you in another week. I'll be with you next week, and then she'll return after that. And we appreciate your support. I look forward to seeing all of you back here again next Monday at 7 p.m. Have an awesome night.